I knew I shouldn't have took I-95.
Name a spin-off that's more iconic than Mario Kart. Yeah, you probably can. What started off as just an experiment on the Super Nintendo has completely changed to become its own franchise. Now, while there are many games in the Mario Kart franchise, I don't think any of them have come to the same level of fun and chaos that is Mario Kart Wii. This game is so much fun, it's so chaotic, and it has its own level of technical skill that I don't think has been matched by any game in the franchise. And that's what I want to share with y'all today. So, if you would, I say we hop into the video and really look at Mario Kart Wii and see why it's so good. And if at any point in this video you feel as if I've earned your subscription, hit that subscribe button. I want to hit 200 subs by the end of 2026, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Mario Kart Wii was one of the most innovative games for the franchise. Yes, it is still Mario Kart. There's still going to be the typical conventions of the franchise, but Mario Kart Wii brought us new mechanics that became core to the franchise. I'm talking things like tricks, the introduction of motion controls, and of course, motorcycles. Because Nintendo just had to corrupt the gene pool. The biggest of changes was the introduction of tricks. Just before you go up a ramp, if you hit the up arrow or flick the Wii remote up, you'll do a trick. And then, once you land, you'll get a speed boost. This single-handedly made going off ramps and jumps far more fun and beneficial. The other change that this game had that has been carried on to almost every other Mario Kart game is the creation and use of motion controls. See, you gotta remember, the Wii's whole gimmick was motion controls. So as a result, this game was gonna have them whether we like it or not. Thankfully, they aren't that bad. All you gotta do is turn the Wii remote to the side and move it like a steering wheel, and you'll get by just fine. It works good enough, and I would be lying to say it was that bad. The good thing is that if you don't want to use motion controls, you can just plug a GameCube controller, or a classic controller, or hell, just use the nunchuck and Wii remote, and you can control the game with just a standard stick. A good rule of thumb here is that pretty much anything that can be plugged into Wii's GameCube ports is pretty much gonna be able to play Mario Kart.
Why isn't it working now? Come on now!
Another really good introduction to this game had to be the motorcycle. These things are the best. You're able to pop wheelies for extra speed, fit into tighter spaces, and, while it might just be my hallucinations saying this, bikes feel far more agile and better than their four-wheeled counterparts. Especially when doing multiplayer time trials or pretty much anything outside of a few scenarios, bikes are just better than cars in every way you can imagine. They can take turns tighter, they have access to different shortcuts, and overall, some of the best vehicles are bikes. Now, Mario Kart Wii also introduced a whole lot of new characters into the game. Now, this right here is a massive list of playable characters. I mean, we do have the usual suspects like Mario, Luigi, Toad, Waifu Prime. Now, it should be noted that characters tend to have bonuses with them, like a little bit of extra speed or handling or acceleration. But there's not that big of a boost. You can pretty much play as whoever you want to without being at that much of a disadvantage. The vehicle choices are far more important. Each weight class has 12 options each, split into 6 carts and 6 bikes. This is easily one of the most unbalanced part of Mario Kart Wii. It is a well-known fact that the combination of Funky Kong and the Flame Runner is the fastest and best combination if you're going for gold. Now, don't get me wrong, it is unbalanced, but it isn't impossible to get first place consistently without the FKFR special. In fact, I think it's far more fun to pick a random character and vehicle combination and see how that works out, rather than pick the most optimal combinations possible. And besides, there is no such thing as optimal way to play, because this game has some of the most overpowered and unbalanced items ever. We have the usual items here: mushrooms, shells, bananas, the useless fake question box item that nobody falls for. The gang's all here. But with the usuals, there are some new items that are both insanely good and bad. We can first start off with the good items. The Mega Mushroom is an item that once you get a hold of it, it will grow you to a gigantic size and you become almost invincible, as well as you gain the ability to flatten other racers. The Mega Mushroom is also notable thanks to the fact that when you get struck by lightning, it returns you to normal size rather than shrink you for a few seconds. Then we have another standout item that was introduced in this game that has been carried through to almost every other one, that one being the Bullet Bill. If you lag behind in a race, the bullet gives you complete invulnerability, a speed boost, and an autopilot feature. This is clearly designed for the guy who keeps lagging behind, but that won't stop the game from giving you it nearly 30 seconds into a race. After those two big items, we then have some lesser items. The power block causes all racers in front of you to spin out and lose their items after a short time. This is easily avoidable though by using a trick to negate any speed or momentum loss. Mario Kart Wii does have one item that has a rather mixed opinion online. That item being the Thundercloud. The Thundercloud gives you a massive speed and handling boost at the cost of, at the very end, it will shock you. If you hit another player with it, it will pass it on to somebody else. The whole idea behind this item is that it creates a hot potato situation where you're trying to get rid of the thing before you end up with a short end of the stick. Now, there is one item though that everybody is afraid of in this game. For you see, there is no power, no weapon, nothing that comes as close as putting the fear of God himself into somebody as the blue shell. This thing is insanely fast. It flies through the air, and wherever it goes, it leaves behind a giant whooshing sound effect of air as it flies straight to the person in first. And when this thing gets to you, it detonates. And when it does, it has such a massive area of effect, not just the person in first, but probably the person in second, third, fourth, sometimes in fifth, also gets hit. I'm telling you, when you hear this thing whoosh through the air, you know for a fact that the person in first is in for it. We have tracks like Mushroom George, I-95, the Amazon Distribution Center, and the GOAT. Some of my favorites have to be things like BK Summit, Koopa Cape, and Grumble Volcano. The thing that I like the most about Mario Kart Wii's tracks is the fact that they all have little details going on around them, as well as just really good track design. They all have good ramps, branching pathway, shortcuts. They all have really good places for the item boxes too, so you're never without an item at some point. And I just think that the art direction for each one of these make them clearly distinct and identifiable, even if you haven't played the game that much. Mario Kart Wii brought back a wide selection of tracks from the previous games as well. These returning tracks have all been remade, or remastered if you would, and they have just as much care put into them as the new ones. Out of the remastered tracks, I always like the N64 ones the best. They have just enough of a touch-up to feel fresh without losing that liminal feel of the N64. The GameCube and DS tracks also feel good, but they don't feel as retro as I remember as a kid. It's most likely that because these games came out relatively close to each other, and there wasn't enough time for them to be seen as old in my eyes. Another thing that makes these tracks feel really good is the movement tech. Now, to somebody who hasn't spent their whole life in the Goon Cave, you might be thinking that Mario Kart Wii is a perfect game with no glitches, no tricks, no tips, and no secret techniques. Well, you'd be wrong. A few of the little tricks that I know of off the top of my head are things like doing tricks at low heights, picking vehicles with inside drift versus outside drift, and chaining wheelies. All of these are possible to learn and require some skill to pull off consecutively and with a good level of consistency. But this isn't the only kind of tech Mario Kart Wii has. Due to how the tracks are programmed, there are numerous unintended shortcuts, the most popular of which are what's known as ultra shortcuts. These are very hard to pull off, but doing so will result in completion times as low as 10 seconds, which is very impressive to the boys and very disappointing to the ladies. These tricks and shortcuts give Mario Kart Wii a remarkably high skill ceiling, but the game remains approachable because most of the core techniques are easy to learn. The more advanced strategies need practice, yet they build naturally off of the fundamentals. Now, you might be wondering why I would come back to Mario Kart Wii. After all, the newest Mario Kart game is really good, and it has online play, meaning it's super replayable. Well, my dear viewer, Mario Kart Wii has one last trick up its sleeve. Thanks to the work of some super talented people, you can play Mario Kart Wii on an official Wii online in 2026. This is like the coolest thing ever. You don't even really need to mod your Wii all that much. Hell, I have an unmodded Wii, and even I was able to play online. And even though the game is really old, there's still a massive community around it. I actually played online for the first time in like forever for this video. And while I'm not good at all, I had a total blast playing. There's people out there far more skilled than I ever could be at Mario Kart Wii, but there's more than enough room for both competitive and casual players. Community tournaments happen all the time. There are several Discord servers full of people just looking to play with friends, and if you're willing to do some work, there's even an active modding scene where people have new characters, tracks, and parts. It took me only a few minutes to get playing the base game online again, and I can safely say it's really fun. And if you're looking for a game to play online and you can't buy a Switch 2 or the new game, Wii's and the original copy of Mario Kart Wii are relatively affordable, so it's not like it's impossible to do this. Mario Kart Wii is an old game, yes, but it is still a massive blast. It's chaotic, it's fun, it's great with friends, it's really good for casual players who just want to race and have a good time, as well as have a great competitive scene. And thanks to the fact the online servers are working again thanks to a bunch of fans, the game can be played competitively and casually online, so there's tons of replayability. I love Mario Kart Wii. I think it's an amazing game, and I think that if you have not played it, or you haven't played it in a while, you should go do it. It's a great game, and I think it's a wonderful experience even in 2026. It's Mario Kart in its purest form. And with that, I think I'm going to end the video off. If y'all like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to have you around for the next video, so please hit that sub button. But anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye!